two brokers.
Still getting my ninja bonus though, right?
Plenty of spreadsheets. And my quant!
I hate this part.
I was right, and I'll be right again. If I were you, I'd thank me.
You know my name's Dave, right?
Security matters. Zappo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
So, tell us about your furry friend here. What's his name?
Oh, this? This is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It's not just a cat, he's family.
Quite a name, and I must say, looks quite pampered.
Oh, absolutely. Bitcoin deserves nothing but the best. He's my little prince.
But with such a valuable pet, aren't you afraid of losing him?
Losing Bitcoin? No, it never happened before, so it's not something I worry about. Excuse me for a moment. Bitcoin, stay here, right?
Bitcoin, no! Bitcoin, come on, little buddy, Bitcoin, I need you. Don't go.
This is Alex. Alex spends most of his time thinking like a trader, still deciding what to do with his Bitcoin. While Alex waits for the perfect entry, this is Laura. She's watching the S&P drop. Everyone is suddenly a macro expert. She doesn't panic. This is Tom. No screens, no noise, no stress. While Tom focuses on his swing, his Bitcoin focuses on compounding. Because Bitcoiners don't want more dollars. They want more Bitcoin.
I want more Bitcoin.
The best move is letting your Bitcoin work while you plan the next one. Grow by Roxom. One currency, one place.
How about Stretch preferred stock on Roxom? Receive 11.5% monthly cash dividends paid in Bitcoin.
11.5% paid in Bitcoin? How is that possible?
It's real. Stretch dividends on Roxom gives 11.5% monthly cash dividends paid in Bitcoin.
Dang! I want everyone pitching Roxom to your clients. Corporate traders, asset managers, old, young, Stretch on Roxom is for everyone.
Now that's a birthday gift. 11.5% in Bitcoin.
We are in heaven at 11.5. 11.5%. 11.5%.
Some call me Chicken Little. Others, Today on Roxom TV News, Trump cancels strikes on Iran for the third night in a row because he says a deal is almost done, which he has also said 38 times before. But maybe this is the real one. SpaceX just had the largest IPO in history, and Musk becomes the world's first trillionaire. A lab-grown meat is getting banned. Turns out, what if a robot grew your burger in a tank was less appetizing than the marketing suggested? BlackRock is launching a Bitcoin product that pays monthly income, and Bloomberg's Eric Balchunas joins us to break it all down. I'm your host, Hank Hudson. Bitcoin is currently trading above $64,000, and that brings us to our top stories of the morning, so let's get into it. President Trump says he's canceled a third consecutive night of planned strikes on Iran, not because the talks collapsed, but because he says a deal is close. Here's what he said, word for word. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. The signing ceremony, Trump added, will be announced shortly. He confirmed that again, speaking with reporters on Thursday.
Mr. President, on Iran, how confident are you that there will be a signing this weekend? Because you have come close to sealing a deal, but at the last minute it has fallen apart. And
it'll be soon, maybe this weekend.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
And when this deal is signed, is the United States going to immediately lift the blockade?
Yes, that's true. That's part of the deal.
And
you'll have oil prices dropping like a rock.
Now, less than 12 hours before that announcement, Trump had posted that Iran had taken too long to negotiate a deal, and that would have been great for them, and that they would now pay the price. He had threatened to seize Karg Island, the small island in the Persian Gulf that processes roughly 90% of Iran's crude oil exports, and he had ordered strikes. Strikes being the key word in all this here, because here's what's different this time around. The deal actually has a name. The Islamabad Agreement would reportedly be mediated by Qatar and Pakistan, with the signing expected in Geneva, possibly as early as Sunday. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to attend on Trump's behalf. 4 U.S. Air Force C-17 cargo planes have already departed for Europe, carrying equipment for the trip. Now, Trump himself won't be there because there's a UFC fight on the White House lawn that day. That part of the deal that's been hardest to nail down is the nuclear energy component to all this, but Thursday afternoon, Trump told reporters it was well underway.
Has Iran committed to not pursuing a nuclear weapon, or will there be more negotiations on that down the line?
They will not have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. There will be no, which is the whole reason, which is a big part of the reason.
Is that going to be in your agreement, sir?
They will not only not have, they will not purchase, develop in any way, any shape, in any way, shape, or form a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon.
But is this just a concept of that agreement when it comes to nuclear? You said this was just a concept of that agreement. So is this just essentially setting the stage for deeper talks on nuclear?
It's a very strong memorandum of understanding. That is a little conceptual, but it's something that's going to get done. And if it doesn't get done for any reason, which I can't imagine that not happening, they want to sign it as much as I do or more.
Virtually every involved country has signed off on the framework, from Israel to Egypt. The one party that hasn't confirmed anything yet is Iran itself, and 2 diplomatic sources told Axios that Iran's supreme leader has not approved the text yet. CNN has counted 38 separate occasions when Trump publicly claimed a deal was imminent, and each time talks broke down or escalation followed. So we've seen this story before. Moving on, SpaceX began trading on the NASDAQ today under the ticker SPCX, and the set price effectively handed SpaceX the title of the largest initial public offering in history. At a valuation of $1.77 trillion, it has almost tripled the previous record. Elon Musk still retains over 82% voting control after the offering. The demand was extraordinary even before the bell. The deal was 3 times oversubscribed, with some reports putting it at 4, which means before we buy into the hype, we have to ask whether $135 a share is actually worth it. Because SpaceX, well, it's not profitable. I mean, yes, Starlink, the satellite internet division, is the engine under the hood here, pulling in $11.4 billion in revenue in 2025 with a subscriber base that's doubling. Because the rocket launch business did turn profitable for the first time last year, which is very real. But XAI lost $6.3 billion on an operating basis during that same period, and the combined entity is being valued as if that losing division is eventually going to dominate artificial intelligence. And the whole thing rests on three bets. Starlink keeps growing, the rocket business scales without a catastrophic failure, and XAI becomes one of the dominant AI companies on Earth before it burns through what's left. Any one of those bets going wrong changes the math here quite significantly. But beyond the price, which is now the market's problem, there's something else worth sitting with. Elon Musk controls the largest rocket company on Earth, the largest satellite internet network on Earth, a major electric vehicle company, an AI company competing with OpenAI and Anthropic, a brain implant company, a tunneling company, and a social media platform. That's a lot. Next up, BlackRock is about to launch another Bitcoin product, and this one is aimed at a different kind of investor entirely. The $14 trillion asset manager has filed an 8A form for its iShares Bitcoin Premium Income ETF, ticker BITA or BITA. And Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas said that filing typically means launch in 1 week. IBIT, BlackRock's existing Bitcoin ETF, is pretty straightforward. It tracks the price of Bitcoin and has already become the largest and most traded Bitcoin ETP in the world since its launch. BITA is built a little differently. According to the filing, the fund seeks Bitcoin exposure while generating monthly income by selling covered call options, primarily on IBIT shares, or in plain English here, investors give up some of the upside if Bitcoin makes a big move higher, but collect option premiums on a regular basis in exchange. That makes BITA less of a bet on Bitcoin's price and more of a yield product built for income investors, financial advisors, and institutions who want Bitcoin in a wrapper that looks a lot more like a fixed income product that they already know. BlackRock is essentially telling the wealth management world you don't have to choose between Bitcoin exposure and a monthly check. Now, whether that's a feature or a compromise depends entirely on what you think Bitcoin is going to do. All right, joining us this morning and making his triumphant return to Roxom TV News. Oh, not yet. We're taking a quick break here at Roxom TV News, and when we get back, we're going to have more stories underway, so stay tuned. We'll be returning right after this quick commercial break.
Some call me Chicken Little, others Bubble Boy. I'm a bit changed, but sounds familiar, right? Let me tell you a hard truth. The S&P isn't rising, the dollar's falling. That's the trick, monopoly money. It's ice melting by the second. Your savings, your salary, your time. Worth less every second. Everyone's using the wrong measuring stick. Switch the denominator. Price the S&P into Bitcoin. Hard, fixed, unprintable. Suddenly your unstoppable index, it's collapsing. And while you cling to dollars, well, Wall Street already switched. Before, you needed 2 brokers.
Still getting my ninja bonus though, right?
Fuck. Plenty of spreadsheets. And my quant!
I hate this part.
I was right, and I'll be right again. If I were you, I'd thank me.
You know my name's Dave, right?
Security matters. Zappo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
So, tell us about your furry friend here. What's his name?
Oh, this? This is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
It's not just a cat, he's family.
Quite a name, and I must say, looks quite pampered.
Oh, absolutely. Bitcoin deserves nothing but the best. He's my little prince.
But with such a valuable pet, aren't you afraid of losing him?
Losing Bitcoin? No, it never happened before, so it's not something I worry about. Excuse me for a moment. Bitcoin, stay here, right?
Bitcoin, no! Bitcoin, come on, little buddy, Bitcoin, I need you. Don't go.
Welcome back to Roxom TV News. We thought Eric was going to be able to join us today, but as they say, I think he had to see a man about a horse. So that's okay. We'll catch him on the next one. And we've got a lot more stories underway here today, so let's get back into it. Because earlier this year, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage put more than 200,000 pounds of his own money into Stack BTC. The company is led by former UK Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng, and Roxom TV's own Connor Sefton interviewed Kwarteng out of our London studio. And the conversation got interesting when Sefton asked him about Farage's recent scandal involving an alleged £5 million gift to a crypto billionaire. Check it out.
Treasury company, and that's what we're doing.
So it often seems that politicians who do have an interest in Bitcoin only end up really acting on it when they're out of office, like out of Westminster. Why
Sure.
do you think that is?
Well, I think it's very difficult, to pursue particular interests when you're in government.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that people don't understand about government is that when you're a minister for transport or a minister for energy, you're focused on that brief.
Yeah.
You're not suddenly all of a sudden going to be necessarily championing crypto digital assets when you're the minister for transport, because that's really outside your your ministerial brief. So it's difficult to pursue interests that are outside the narrow ministerial brief. I was Chancellor Exchequer briefly. I was very interested in digital assets. I think that's an area where London and Britain could be falling behind. I think we've got to get ahead of this. But yes, it's much easier for when you leave politics to pursue whatever interests you have. I don't have a brief. I can decide what business interests I want to pursue, and this is my principal focus at the moment.
So of course, the exception to this is Nigel Farage, isn't it?
Sure.
Now, he's been interested in Bitcoin for years. I interviewed him at a conference back in 2022.
Yeah.
And of course, he has been under a lot of scrutiny over this £5 million gift from
That's
Christopher
right.
Harborne. Now, he's been heavily involved in Stack. Is there a risk that he damages Stack's brand?
I don't think so. I think we've got to be very clear about his role in it. He's an investor, and this came up when he announced his investment. And actually, the rules are very clear. As an MP, if you put more than £70,000 into a company, a stock, you have to declare that. My understanding is that he has declared it. It's certainly public. And then the rules are very different when you become a minister. There's that you either offload your stock, or you put it in a trust, or subject to oversight, you can keep it. But those are very separate rules from those of being an MP. And at the moment, he's just an MP. People speculate about whether he's going to be Prime Minister or what have you. But as of June 2026, he's a backbench MP. And that's and as far as that's concerned, his investment in Stack is public, declared, and pretty uncontroversial.
Yes, and I'm sure that he's following all of the disclosure rules. My question specifically was about this controversy involving Christopher Harborne, though. Will he still be involved in Stack and appear in your videos going forward?
So look, we don't have any plans to include Nigel in any videos in the immediate future. We've got to focus on our day job, which is running a good public company, and also looking after the interests of the shareholders, and also pursuing our strategy of buying good operational businesses within the ecosystem, the digital assets ecosystem, and that's our principal focus. I'm not particularly interested in using Nigel in a kind of PR way at all.
So no immediate plans. I'm assuming is that linked to what's been happening?
No,
there?
not at all.
Okay.
We were very clear that obviously it was quite exciting him being an initial investor. I've got on with him, even though we're in different political parties. I've always found him very easy to get on with, very approachable. He has a passion for, as you pointed out, for Bitcoin. That didn't just emerge, 2 weeks ago or 3 months ago. He's been interested in this for years. He's interested in gold. He's interested in the debasement of currencies that we've seen through, fiscal pressures. He's interested in all those subjects. He's obviously a former city trader, so he's got some exposure to, precious metals and other commodities. And he has a genuine interest for passion for markets and for investment. And I think it's good to welcome people like that as part of your investor base.
So the controversy could have political ramifications, though, couldn't it? Because it's attracted a lot of media interest. £5 million is more than most people will see in a lifetime. Reform has many pro-Bitcoin policies, lower capital gains tax, being able to pay your taxes in Bitcoin, for example. Because of what's been happening and because of the scrutiny he's received, do you think it's now less likely that these policies would become law if Reform won the next election?
Look, so my own view, I'm a conservative, and with my political analysis hat, if you like, I think Reform will probably struggle to win a majority.
Right.
It could be the largest party, I can see that. As far as I can see, it'll be very difficult for any of the political parties in Britain today to get a majority at the next election. And I always say, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think in terms of digital assets policies, this is part of innovation. This is part of the modern world. And I think any political party that is interested in innovation, that wants to see Britain at the top of that league table in terms of innovation, will have very pro-digital asset, pro-innovation, pro-new technology policies. And I think digital assets is very much part of that story.
Yes, and I think, many Bitcoiners would argue that this should be a bipartisan issue, or, it should not be a partisan
No, it shouldn't.
issue.
I mean, I've said publicly that it doesn't matter who the government is. We've got to work with whoever the government is to make sure that Britain can be a leader in this new exciting industry.
That being said, though, we saw Donald Trump run on a pro-Bitcoin policy, during his presidential campaign. Farage has been doing the same. Is there a risk that, because of the close association that Trump and the Republicans have had to Bitcoin and that Farage and Reform have had to Bitcoin, other parties won't want to touch it?
Well, I think that as time passes, day by day, there's more acceptance and understanding that digital assets are here to stay. I mean, I remember times 12 years ago, people were losing Bitcoin. I mean, exchanges were losing physical Bitcoin, as it were. And I think that the prognosis then was that digital assets were a fad, they would disappear. Even as late as 2022, in the aftermath of the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX debacle, people said this was over. It was over. Digital assets were over. It was dead. But they've still survived. They're here. Bitcoin has been around for 17 years. Not that long a time, but it'll be around for forever, I think. And there's no, in my view, there's no chance that we're going to go back to the world that existed before digital assets were around. So we've got to move with the times. We've got to accept innovation, and we've got to get behind it.
So Stack has actually faced some criticism from within the industry. There's a quote that I'm sure you must have seen. It was from Ian Taylor of Crypto UK. He said, "The fact it's got Kwasi and Farage tells people like me, don't invest in it. I would question the quality of the management. Crypto assets are highly volatile. People should be doing their due diligence on their financials.
Yeah, of course they should.
The quality and the management."
Yeah, I agree with that.
You do agree with that?
I agree that people should do their due diligence. I don't agree with the personal remarks. I mean, but people can take things as they will. We've got to make sure that we've got a fundamentally good, sound underlying business, and that's what we're doing. People can take me or Nigel or whoever and throw sticks and stones at us. I think what will drive the price is obviously the Bitcoin, our fundamental thesis about Bitcoin, and also the quality of businesses that we buy. Now, I'm in politics, so people throw brickbats at one the whole time, individuals and personal stuff. That's not relevant to me. I don't think that's relevant. I'm much more interested in the thesis behind Bitcoin, the innovation it represents, and actually getting fundamentally good businesses that can generate cash to buy the Bitcoin.
So I do want to talk about politics, but the last question on Stack, you were mentioning that you're looking to acquire businesses that might be adjacent to digital assets. What sort of businesses, you don't have to say what businesses.
I'm not going to say, no, of
but
course
what
not.
type of business?
But, you know, I think, I mean, you look at the modern world, and I don't know this Ian Taylor chap, I don't know where he's come from or who he is, but you look at the modern world, you look at the developments of the last 20 years, you've got AI, which is, you know, absolutely extraordinary. The fact that you need data centers and they need energy, and the fact that, you know, that's a way of generating cash flow in terms of hiring them out. The nature of the economy is changing, you know, at the rate of knots. And I think if you're running a digital assets treasury business, you've got to think very hard about how your business, your innovative business, can plug into a fast and dynamically changing world in terms of tech, in terms of innovation. And I think there are opportunities in that.
So are we talking like exchanges, miners, companies that accept Bitcoin as a payment method?
Our main focus, two things. One is obviously the Bitcoin adjacent DAT space.
Thanks, Connor. Now, if you guys want the full interview, it's up on Roxom TV's YouTube, so you can go check it out there, and I would certainly encourage you to do so. Continuing on, Japan is moving closer to one of the most significant crypto policy overhauls in its history, and for investors who've been sitting on the sidelines, the math is about to look very different. Lawmakers are advancing legislation that would shift cryptocurrency regulation from the Payment Services Act to the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act, formally reclassifying crypto as a financial instrument. The amendment cleared the House of Representatives Committee on Finance and Financial Affairs on June 10th, and now moves to the next stages of the parliamentary process. The tax change alone is staggering. Today, crypto gains in Japan can be taxed as miscellaneous income at rates reaching roughly 55% when national and local taxes are combined. Under the new framework, that drops to a flat 20% capital gains rate, in line with stocks and other financial assets. And the legislation would also create a pathway for cryptocurrency ETFs and expand the range of investment products available to Japanese investors. Those punishing tax rates didn't just discourage individual investors. This environment contributed to the rise of Bitcoin treasury companies like Metaplanet, which gave investors indirect Bitcoin exposure through publicly traded shares, rather than direct ownership, because the tax treatment of securities was simply far more favorable than holding the asset itself. Now, if approved, this marks a fundamental shift in how Japan sees crypto, not as a payment mechanism sitting at the edge of the financial system, but as a legitimate investment asset sitting inside of it. And for a country that has historically been one of the most active crypto markets in the world, dropping the tax rate from 55 to 20% is going to open a lot of doors that have been closed for a very long time. Now, joining me this morning to talk about this story and others, one of our good friends of the program. Let's give a big happy Friday Roxom TV welcome to Fernando the Bitcoin Libertarian. Fernando, how are you? Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us from the future in Hong Kong.
Still Friday here. Happy Friday for you, for the people in Roxom, and for all the audience. Very happy to be here again.
Oh, we're always thrilled to have you on the show, Fernando. And I want to jump into this story here because it's a big one. Japan is cutting crypto taxes from 55% down to 20%. And the libertarian argument has always been that punishing tax policy is one of the biggest barriers to Bitcoin adoption. Now that a major government is actually doing it, does this feel like a genuine win? Or does a libertarian instinctively distrust a government making it easier to own Bitcoin? I want to get your read on this situation.
No, I am libertarian, but I'm very pragmatic, and any policies cutting taxes on Bitcoin, giving people easy access to Bitcoin is a good policy for the adoption. And yeah, I heard, I didn't know how was the tax situation in Japan regarding to Bitcoin, but I heard that was very tough, 55%. That was one of the edges that Metaplanet used to have, because they can access to Bitcoin and people prefer to buy Metaplanet stock instead of Bitcoin for the taxes. I think that this can trigger a huge adoption for people, for other companies, for EDFs, as you were saying. For me, any tax cut is amazing. I hope soon it goes to zero, but it's a good step going from 55 to 20%.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, 55 is killer. And kind of going off something you said earlier, those 55% tax rates, as you mentioned, essentially forced Japanese investors into workarounds like Metaplanet, because buying Bitcoin exposure through a publicly traded company, made the tax code was a little more favorable than direct ownership was. What does that say to you about a financial system when people have to engineer around their own government just to save their money?
Well, every system has this. I think that the world that we live, the governments protecting fiat system in their own benefits, force us to find alternatives to save our money and protect from inflation. Again, but people always find a way, and sooner or later, governments needs to open and needs to adopt Bitcoin and let people choose free, because at the end of the day, more freedom is more prosperity. So I think that people needs to be free to save in the terms that they want, either it's Bitcoin, stocks, currencies, or whatever. In Argentina, where I come from, there was a huge restriction in the past to buy dollars, because we in Argentina are accustomed to saving US dollars. And there was a big restriction that always triggered black market and all this crap. So when it is free, it's better for the government. If the government wants to control what is going on, it's better for the people, it's better for the companies, and overall, it's better for the whole economy.
Yeah, agreed. And it looks like Japan's finally deciding to jump on the right side of history here. I mean, they're reclassifying crypto as a financial instrument under securities law, which brings legitimacy, but it also brings the full weight of financial regulation with it, right? So for a Bitcoin maximalist like yourself, do you feel like this is a net positive, or does maybe folding Bitcoin into traditional securities law start to kind of compromise what it actually is?
Of course, that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I am the guy, even though I support treasury companies, I support ETF, I support institutionalization of Bitcoin. I think that most of the people, I always say that the only way that you have to have Bitcoin is protecting your own keys, but not the whole people wants it. So with this, you give people access to Bitcoin. Most of the people that will come to the market to buy financial instruments or institutionalized Bitcoin would never have been in Bitcoin if this not happened. So for the maxis, we, the maxis, always find a way to bypass the governments and have our Bitcoin in cold storage. But for the rest of the people who don't want to study self-custody, don't want to study Bitcoin, just want to be connected or exposed to an asset that can let them help to fight against inflation, they don't even care. For me, the effect is net positive, because a lot of people that otherwise would never have been in contact with Bitcoin, would never have invested in Bitcoin, now they will invest in Bitcoin, and a tiny percentage of these people will become maximalists and will go for the self-custody. At the end of the day, it's better for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of people out there that are just like, hey, there's plenty of people I've spoke to on the show that don't necessarily think that, the on-ramp of ETFs are necessarily going to get people to hold their own Bitcoin natively. But even if they don't, to your point, just to have people have some skin in that game, and over time, it's going to happen. Like once you start learning about Bitcoin, you're going to say, hey, listen, I need to be custodying this myself and not doing it through an ETF, not through, Coinbase or something, because we know the risks that are involved there. So it's going to take time, but I'm all about the on-ramps. I think ETFs are really important. If we're really going to make this part of the global financial network the way we kind of think that Bitcoin's going to be, it's going to have to happen. So I would definitely be on board with you on that one. And the legislation here in Japan is also interesting because it would open the door to these crypto ETFs there, right? And that is exactly what happened here in the United States with IBIT. And that brought in hundreds of billions of dollars almost immediately into the Bitcoin ecosystem. So do you think Japan is about to see the same kind of institutional flood into Bitcoin? And is that unambiguously good for Bitcoin itself? What do you make of this?
To be honest, I am not in deep into the Japanese market, so I cannot tell. But I'm sure that it's not going to be the same that the United States. I think that the inflow is going to be proportionally less. If you compare the whole United States market, the percentage that is into Bitcoin ETF, and the whole Japanese market, I think that this percentage will be less, because in Asia people, there are some degens, but they are more conservatives, probably, and it depends to who they open this instrument, because, for example, in Hong Kong, we already have a Bitcoin ETF. After the United States was the second region in the world that approved Bitcoin ETF. But, for example, me, that I am a Hong Kong resident, and I also know that many Hong Kong citizens, I am not allowed, and then are not allowed to invest into ETF, even pension funds. I would love that my pension fund here in Hong Kong was able to invest in ETF, because in that case, I can use this money. Sooner or later will happen. That we need to give time. This money to go into Bitcoin and not to the shit things that I have to choose. So again, I don't think that it's going to have the same effect to United States at the beginning, but as long as more they can open these instruments to more and more bigger companies, like, for example, insurance, for example, pension funds, that is the ideal. A pension fund, you need to put it there and you need to wait for years. So the better way to do is to put into Bitcoin. And if you cannot put into Bitcoin spot, you can use an ETF. So again, all this industry is super new. Remember that the first ETF was released in the United States in 2024, in January. So again, I think the effect is not going to be the same, but sooner or later, more countries will come in, and more, not retail, but insurances, pension funds, and sovereign funds will go to these instruments. And again, for me, are good news for Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You know, the Japanese economy obviously is its own beast compared to what we experience here in the United States. But hey, 55% to 20% is no small deduction of, a tax rate right there. And as the old saying goes, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. So you got to figure at least a couple people are going to be turning their eye to Bitcoin that maybe they weren't before because of those tax rates. So I'm certainly encouraged about it. The signal is great. That's just one of those things, right? Maybe right now the implications aren't immediate, but you got to like the signal we're seeing here, and we're only going to see more of it as we're going forward. So exciting times. And speaking of exciting, Fernando, I've got a story that I know you were going to want to talk about with me in just a second, so stay tuned. I'm going to bring it back here in just a minute, because the FIFA World Cup is officially underway, and a celebration is supposed to bring the world together. But as the tournament kicks off, some activists say it is also exposing deeper questions about freedom, access, and accountability. You see, in Mexico City, hundreds of families of missing persons marched through the streets as the tournament opened, carrying photos of loved ones and demanding that the global spotlight land somewhere other than a soccer pitch. Mexico has nearly 135,000 missing people, and the protesters' message was pointed. Governments found billions of dollars for stadiums and security, while thousands of families are still waiting for answers about where their relatives are. Now, the disappearances aren't the only grievance on the table here. Critics have also raised the ticket prices, which put most matches out of reach for ordinary fans, and visa restrictions that have blocked some supporters, journalists, and even soccer officials from attending the events in person, which I don't love. All right, first of all, before we get into the nuts and bolts here, Fernando, how excited are you for the World Cup? Let's focus on the good part of this before we get into this other part. Are you excited? I know you're a big Argentina guy. He's getting a little trophy.
Come and
you are
get
truly
it.
ready.
Come and get it. I'm Argentinian, so we are the owners of this beauty. Come and get it, guys. We are going to defend it with our teeth. So it's going to be difficult to take the cup out of our hands.
Oh, man, the defending champs.
We waited 36 years to get this beauty in Qatar. Let me kiss it. And we are not going to let this give away easy.
Yeah. And, we're excited about the World Cup here. It's being hosted here in America, Mexico, some other places. But there is another side to this that unfortunately we do need to talk about. It's not all fun and games because the Mexican government has found billions of dollars to host the World Cup, while we have thousands of families in Mexico are still waiting for answers about disappeared loved ones. So I want to get your beat on this, Fernando. Is that a resource allocation failure, maybe a values failure, or is that just what governments inevitably do when spectacle serves power better than justice does? What do you make of that? They're allocating all this money to FIFA, but there's all these missing people. What's going on?
Well, I had this conversation with Ed Julin when he was in London
that's great.
Because he's American, but his wife is from Mexico, and I didn't understand all the missing people. I think that the missing people are things together with the civil, not the civil war. They had the drug cartels and the military, and there is all this problem that the government admitted that they made mistakes 2 years ago, and now they are like with all these protests. Usually this happens when there is the FIFA World Cup. We have the nice side that is the hype, the competition, the celebration, the goals, the champions. But it also happened in Argentina during the World Cup in 1978. There was a very bad dictatorship at that time, like just 100, 200 meters away from the stadium where the final goal was held. There was people being tortured, people being killed. So I'm not too deep into what is going on in Mexico, but I think that is a problem that is been going on for a long time. And these families claim the government to, give us our family remains to bury them. And the government says that it's difficult to do that. But of course, this usually happens. There are protests. Also, for example, in 1982, during the FIFA World Cup in Spain, Argentina was in a war with United Kingdom, the War of Malvinas in the South Atlantic. So, these things usually happen, and I think that the government always needs to plan about that. And if they couldn't get a solution for the people, I think that is a government failure. I hope the people get an answer, but I hope that these protests don't be bad for the show, the FIFA World Cup, because it's something that the fans are waiting, the people around the world is waiting. Is the sport event with all the eyes of the world is over there. So I hope there are any problems.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one, Fernando. And another element about this story that I want to touch on is, it's called the beautiful game. And the World Cup, like the Olympics, like Bitcoin Pizza Day, is one of those rare events that brings the world together, or is supposed to. However, in this World Cup, we're seeing visa restrictions blocked for some journalists and football officials, even attending their own sporting, some of the biggest events. I know the United States was having issues with the Iranian team. They can only fly in on game days, and some of their coaches allegedly weren't even allowed to come in. So it begs this question here. As someone like you who believes in free movement and open borders as libertarian principles, how do you read a situation where a celebration of global unity requires government permission to attend? It seems a little backwards to me. What do you make of it?
It's crap. I heard what is happening with the Iran football team. What happened with I feel very sad because they deported a referee from Somalia, that he had a visa. And all these people, you need to understand, they are professional sports people, professional referees, that they are really successful. They go there to be part of the game. And this guy from Somalia, he went to the United States. He was going to be the first Somalian ever to take part of a World Cup.
Right.
And he was rejected when he arrived in Miami. It's stupid. The same what they are doing with Iran. I saw also other national teams that they control them. They catch their bodies. They make them go through controls that are even incredible for the regular people. So And these national teams or the delegations, the officials, they are like, when there are people like diplomatics, so they need to be allowed to enter without any problem, because they all know what they are going to go. It's not like, okay, I go to United States, I arrive and I say, what are you come to doing here? Oh, I come to watch the World Cup. And I don't have the visa, anything. But they are playing the World Cup. They are professional football players. They are millionaires. So they are not going to be illegal aliens in the United States. I think that is stupid. To be honest, it's stupid.
There's a couple stupid things about this that I want to talk to you about. And another one is the ticket prices. I'm actually going to be in Seattle next week for the U.S.-Australia game. It's the first one, I think, or maybe it's the second game U.S. plays. The minimum ticket price, nosebleed, is $1,500, which is crazy to me. Crazy to me. Like, we're having this worldwide event, but we have FIFA pricing everyday fans out of it. Like, how do we fix something like that, Fernando? Because it just feels like, again, like we're seeing in the monetary system and we see in the government and in big business all the time, it's the big guys at the top just squeezing the ordinary citizens of the world for every dime they have for something that's supposed to be for the world. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because these ticket prices are outrageous, and I think it's kind of taking away some of the beauty from the beautiful game.
Yeah, I heard that the tickets were insane. What you told me, 1,500 or 15,000?
1,500 for nosebleeds. You're at like the very top deck.
It's crazy. A friend of mine that she's Mexican, she told me I cannot go because it's 4,000, so $4,000 per ticket. I also saw the tickets of are all sold out. I also love the UFC and the McGregor fight that is going to be next month. The cheapest tickets are around 2,400, so it's incredible. And the only solution, the only thing that I have to say is Bitcoin fixes this. This is the problem of fiat. So it's incredible how I remember I only went to one massive event. I've been to a couple of UFC events around Asia, but I only been to one massive event that was the Olympics in London 2012. And I remember that the tickets were very affordable. I just paid the cheapest ticket to go in Wimbledon was £40 for the whole day pass, and I went to the center court. I remember have gone to watch football for £20. It's like nothing. So, but putting these prices for this, I hope they sell. I don't like to, because they get a lot of people outside. My cousin that lives in New York, he said me the same. I don't have tickets because are quite expensive. So it's a shame, because you are making the football that is in Argentina, for example, in my country, football is like a religion, and football is mostly played by everyone, but it's the game with the lower classes. You have a ball. If you have a ball, you share with people, and everyone enjoy, and it's the sport of the people. And having these tickets so expensive, I think that you remove the people who really likes football to watch and to put the game, the party, and you always only allow to go to the rich people that probably they are not even excited for the World Cup, just want to go there to show off. Same happened with the UFC. So I think that it's crazy, but it's the world that we live in, and it's the world that we don't want to live in. That's why we have Bitcoin, and we fight for Bitcoin every day to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's really, it feels almost like we're being, like, obviously during COVID, the money printer went off. That wasn't great. But if you look at ticket prices and things like that, there is no way in hell these ticket prices are moving in direct accordance with that inflation. It seems so much worse to me based on prices I'm seeing and what I used to see. And I feel like we're almost kind of, these big companies are using that as an excuse to inflate them even higher than the real inflation is. I saw this graphic the other day, and it said something like, since the year 2000, back in year 2000, if you had $100,000 today, to have the equivalent bot purchasing power of that, you would have to have something around $320,000 here in the United States, which just speaks to how out of control all of this stuff is. And it's just doing harm to all the everyday people that actually care about these things, and it's turning all these wonderful events into the F1 race in Miami that costs like 50 grand and you have to buy a soda for $1,000. I don't like it. Bitcoin solves this. It's ruining the game. It's making it a little less beautiful. I got an axe to grind with somebody. If you know someone I can call, maybe at FIFA, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, Fernando.
I wish I know someone, and I will try to get a ticket for me and go to watch any match, because I never been in a World Cup match, and I want to be one day.
Got to tick that off the bucket list. Well, I told you before the show, what I'm really hoping here is Iran meets the United States at the end of the World Cup final and beats them. Of course, I'm a United States fan. I just want to see Trump have the biggest meltdown on Truth Social ever if Iran beats us. At any point in the World Cup, really, would be just so rich, but a man can dream. All right, we're going to move on to our next story here, Fernando. And I got a feeling the people in this story can very much afford going to the World Cup, because SpaceX began trading on the NASDAQ today under the ticker symbol SPCX. And we're taking a live look at that ticker now. It's up 18.5% already. I don't know, what are you making of this SpaceX IPO here, Fernando? I mean, they just pulled off the largest one in all of history. Musk retains over 82% of the total voting control, meaning the public bought in but didn't actually buy a voice in here. So from your point of view, is that a feature of free markets, or is that a quiet way to abuse them? What are you making of this IPO, biggest on record?
I am so excited, to be honest, with this IPO, because I think that is the IPO, it's not even not because it's the biggest IPO in history, it's the IPO of the biggest company in the history of humanity, and is the IPO for the company that will revolutionize humanity in the next decades and probably centuries. I am a big space nerd. I am a big Elon Musk fan. And I think that what he's doing with SpaceX, this is not only a rocket company. Remember, it's a rocket company, AI company, data centers in the space, energy in the space, and this company is going to send people to Mars. So this is amazing. So for me, I am excited.
It is amazing, and I know you love Elon, but there's a problem here, right? And it's that Musk is going to be worth over $1 trillion. That will probably make him the richest man in the history of mankind. Maybe, Genghis Khan or something, if you adjusted the money. But that is bigger than the GDP, I believe, of like all but 15 nations in the world. Do you in any way find it potentially problematic to have the man at the head of this type of private conglomerate? He's going to have so much power. He's going to have more power than most nations on Earth. Isn't that putting a lot of chips into the basket of one person, and we're just kind of relying on Eli to do the right thing? Does that not scare you at all? Because I feel like that's how supervillains start.
No, I don't think. It depends, because if you have...
it depends. They make me feel better, Fernando.
It depends, but but yeah, there are people that became super villains, and it's 23.41. It's going up. I regret not having bought, but anyway.
No. This thing's gonna crash. Don't buy it. This thing's gonna crash.
I think that is the hype for the day. But anyways, what I said is that Elon is the richest man in the world because he is He's the owner and not the creator of Tesla, but he is revolutionizing AI with Tesla, self-driving cars, and he made the space exploration cheaper, and he created a company that has the 98% of the load selling to the space, bigger than United States, bigger than China, and he brought us back to the space. So I'm not worried. I think that the vision that Elon has is the same. I would be doing the same. The only thing is that I would be doing more related to Bitcoin. But it's the same way when people criticize Michael Saylor. Oh, he has a lot of Bitcoin. It's bad for Bitcoin. He has the power, and he is doing financial engineering to pick up fiat and turn into Bitcoin and give people a rate. So again, I don't think so that Elon is controlling the two biggest companies, not the biggest companies in the world, but the most revolutionary companies in this century. If you look back, what are the biggest companies, the most revolutionized companies in the Nasdaq in the century? Tesla and now SpaceX. And the third one is strategy. So I'm not against.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I love Elon, but here's my problem. I mean, I love parts of Elon, but my problem with Elon is I feel like there's going to come a point where a man in his position is going to have to make a decision. And I think that decision will ultimately be what's best for people right now and what's best for people in the future, which could very well come at the expense of us right now. And I don't necessarily love the idea that one man gets to make that decision that affects the entire world, right? And that particularly scares me.
But on the other side, you have the politicians doing the same, making decisions.
But there's like Congress. It's a bunch of people. He can act unilaterally. He's 82% voting.
No, this is the illusion that they sell to us. So I'd rather Elon has the power to make the decisions of the world instead of the politicians. So
I can accept that argument.
That's my point.
I can accept it.
And again, this is happening because we live in a world with fiat. Probably in the future, Michael Saylor will dispute the power to Elon Musk. So anyway,
we can have two super wealthy guys who are battling it out for control of the universe. This sounds like a great plan, but I want to get another perspective on this, Fernando. So I'm going to welcome in Roxom TV's own Walker America to the stage. And Walker, we're talking about the Elon Musk SpaceX IPO. He's about to be the richest man probably in the history of the world. And while he's done a lot of great things to move humanity forward, it reminds me of a famous quote by Kanye West, and it's, no one man should have all that power. What do you make of what we're seeing from Elon? Do you think this is good, or could this maybe be problematic down the line? I'd love to get your read on things.
Boy, I think you spent a little too much time in California, and some of that, in the words of Norm Macdonald, that sounds like a bunch of commie gobbledygook.
I don't know. That's a lot of power
work
for
less
one day,
hard?
dude.
Should he have sent fewer rockets? Should he have started fewer companies? Like,
No.
What a ridiculous premise, though. That no, well, come on, he shouldn't have that much. It's like, why not? The guy is literally trying to make us a multiplanetary species. He literally, for all the libs out there who loved electric cars and then now hate them because for some reason Elon's evil now because he was trying to work to make our government more efficient, and we all know that must be evil too because the government should be as big and inefficient as possible so we can shove DEI and all that down everybody's throats and tax everyone to high heavens. No. The problem here is definitely Elon Musk starting too many companies, doing too many innovative things, trying to move humanity forward too fast. Why doesn't he just stop doing all of that and make less money?
That's not what I'm saying now.
But it's a ridiculous premise. How much is...
That's crazy. You have to have checks. That's why Congress
he
exists.
Started a company that created reusable rockets and now delivers more payload than everyone else combined.
I feel like to me it's a short-sighted and incredibly optimistic view of things that we don't know. And I feel like it's a huge risk, and we're going to start what he can do. No one man should have all that power. Fernando, go for it.
The government should have it. Yeah, give it to them instead.
My 2 cents. I couldn't agree more with Walker America because he, as we were talking, I don't know if you listened what we were doing before. He created. He didn't create Tesla, but he developed Tesla. He created the most disruptive companies of this century, that are Tesla and SpaceX. And down to 2007, he only had 1 month, I think 1 month of cash to pay for Tesla and SpaceX salaries. And the economist said, you should close one company. You should go bankrupt with one company and keep one. And he said, no way. He put his own money to continue working with the two companies. Plus, he was sleeping on the factory 24/7. So Elon is of course, he deserves to have all that he has because he worked hard, he created innovative things, and he's revolutionized the world. And as Walker America said, he is sending to the space the 98% of all the pilot of the rockets of the world. The second is China with 1.05%. So I think that saying he cannot have X or Y is communism. And
I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he can. I'm saying should he? There's a difference because I feel like there's.
How much money should he?
I don't think anyone. I know. I'm not talking his money. I'm saying the power involved. I'm saying the power of. Personally, I'm fine with there are billionaires. If you should be rewarded for the value you bring to the world, I agree with that.
You can have billionaires, but not trillionaires. Got it. Okay.
I think there's a certain point where it's getting a little ridiculous when your GDP, when you're worth more than the GDP of like all but 15 countries. That's way too much centralized power, and isn't that what Bitcoin's ultimately not about, right? Centralized power, and you're saying it's okay to give it to one man who owns all these companies.
Who is giving it to him, Hank? Who is giving it to him?
There needs to be some kind of check of some kind. Okay,
but no,
it's all great until it's not.
Let's back this up. Who is giving it to him?
Okay, then let's not castrate me for the poor choice of words here. What I'm saying is,
but
I feel like there needs to be checks. That's why it's in the government, right? How can we not have some kind of check on this guy's more powerful? He's so powerful he can play a game of chicken with the president. That to me, that's a dangerous.
And
thing.
for me, it's amazing. For me, it's amazing.
That's fine.
If someone who comes from the free market has more power than a fucking president, that they are all corrupt, all the senators, the Congress, all people that never did anything in their life for the humans, go all in. I will support him. I'm an anarcho-capitalist, so anyone who is against the governments, I'm against. And Elon is not against the government, to be honest, also, but if he has more power than the president, of course.
Hank, I just want to know, what's your solution, Hank? What are you
I'm not saying
proposing?
I have one right now. All I'm saying is I worry about, as with Bitcoiners do, overly centralized systems. And that also means a single person being able to act almost unchecked. And I'm not going to debate that, like, he's done great things and he should make money. He's contributed a ton to society, and Elon's super important. I'm not debating that. But can I also say that I worry about one individual having such a great influence over the entire world? Is that not a fair thing for me to say, hey, that might be a concern? I'm not saying it's wrong, but am I not allowed to be concerned about that?
You're allowed to be concerned, of course.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Those concerns should be based in like reality and facts, not just saying, well, he's going to have over $1 million, and that's the arbitrary number where I decided it's bad.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not even saying about the money. I'm saying about his reach. He controls space. He controls AI. He controls autonomous vehicles. His reach is unlike anything.
Go out there and build a better company then, Hank.
I'm not trying to build a better company. I'm just saying this could be problematic, and for us to not acknowledge that could be a problem here, I think it's incredibly short-sighted and naive.
Let me put an example.
Okay, go ahead.
How many subscribers you have in your YouTube channel, Walker?
Like 20,000.
My YouTube channel in English is only 300, so I have to complain because Walker has more followers than me. So I have to complain. I don't like that he has more followers than me. What can I do is to create a better podcast so more people follow me, and I have more followers than Walker. So this is the way.
This isn't about creating a better system, Fernando. This is just about, I think, it's all I'm saying is I could understand it being incredibly problematic. I've seen enough superhero movies or something where one person has so much control. It could be problematic because I don't trust human nature. And I don't trust any single person. That's why there are checks and balances in the government. And I'm not saying the government is perfect. We've got our problems with the government. But I just don't like all that power being in the hands of one man who's basically unchecked. I don't understand how you guys couldn't acknowledge that could be problematic down the line.
But again, like saying that, oh, here's a problem, but we have no solution for this purported problem.
You got to bridge the problem before you have the solution, right? I'm acknowledging there could be a problem here. Maybe it's time we start thinking of a solution before it gets too bad.
Yeah, but the problem with your acknowledgement of the problem, if I may, is that you're basically you're saying the problem is that a guy was too successful in the free market, built companies that are too valuable, basically all of his wealth. It's not like he's sitting on $1 trillion in cash. It's all in his
It's not about the
company's
money.
equity.
It's not about the money.
But money
It's about the
is power.
influence. Right, but it's about
money
the
is
influence. He's
influence.
unchecked. He's 82% voting rights in this thing. The people that are buying into
Because
this
he
have
built
literally
the
no say.
company, Hank.
Right, I understand that, but I'm still saying it can be problematic even if he earned it. That's the point.
And why the stock price is now almost 20% up? Because people trust in his
Wait 100
direction.
days from now. All
No,
these
okay,
IPOs
okay.
crash
But
almost exactly
the
at
point
100
is that
days. So like
if
this
he-
is fun because people want money. They want fast money.
If he starts doing crap, all the investors will start removing the money, and his company will be worth zero. So
I mean,
exactly. Like
that's the
that's
Elon
called
is
the
not
free market.
infallible, boys. Doge didn't exactly go well. He's not made. I mean, I'm not expecting anybody to be perfect, except especially in his position. But I'm saying is we've seen backlash to Elon before. Like all of us, he's an imperfect human. Is he an accomplished one? And has he done great things? Absolutely. To deserve the money that comes with it? Absolutely. But I can still say that I think it could become problematic, and we may not see it now, but I think it's something worth thinking about before we get to that point. And I feel like it's kind of silly to not acknowledge that that is a very real possibility.
But again, Hank, I think it's the framing of it, like, because the whole thing is what you're suggesting is that something should be there's going to be a problem, and the implication is that something should be done about it. Well, who is going to do something about it? You clearly don't trust the free market to do as Fernando said, which is investors remove their money when they lose faith. That's what you do about it. What you do is you don't use his services. What you do is you don't invest in his company. You remove capital that you have. That's how the free market deals with it. The other option, if you don't trust the free market, if you don't trust people making subjective value judgments trillions and trillions of times a day individually, okay, maybe you don't trust that. Maybe you'd rather trust a group of bureaucrats, a bunch of, AOCs and Elizabeth Warrens to make decisions about how SpaceX should run. Bernie Sanders is already proposing the government taking a 50% stake in various AI companies. You know that SpaceX now, as also an AI company, having folded in XI, they're going to try to push that on them. They're going to try to push a 50% government ownership on this. And do you think, is that a better option? Because then we'd have checks and balances, right? We have elected officials in government, and they always know what's right. They can always check and balance. Like, which do you trust more, the government or the free market of individuals making individual subjective value judgments more times a day than you can possibly fathom?
I think it's totally fair for me to bridge this question and looking forward and saying, hey, this might not be an issue right now, but let's look a little beyond what's right in front of our faces right now and set aside the fact that maybe we don't have a better alternative right now, which I'll agree, but it still doesn't make me not allowed to say, hey, listen, I could see this being problematic down the road because of X, Y, Z. So I hear you guys. I'm not saying I've got a better solution, and there's parts of Elon that I love. I think he's like our modern day Da Vinci, right? But we've never seen a human being have this much power in the world except for Genghis Khan or something, and we saw how that played out. And Elon kind of does that too. He really likes the ladies, which is kind of fun.
And Genghis
But I
Khan
don't know.
won his power because he was the strongest guy and the biggest warrior. So again, Genghis Khan deserved his status. So,
if you want to live, do you want to live under Genghis Khan's rule, Fernando?
No
You're gonna
way.
have sex
Hank,
with your wife.
these analogies are just getting worse and worse. But
No.
I'm just saying, you can extrapolate things out. I don't want it to come to that, but it could.
The point is, Hank, I think that if Elon starts doing crap, the market is going to punish him. And there will be, of course, neither you or me or Walker is going to start a new rocket company. But there will be people that will start rocket companies if Elon fails. So the market will punish him. So what he arrived to this position in a free market competition. So
I understand. That's not my point. I'm not saying I hope someone better comes along. I think Elon does a lot of great things. My entire point is it's not even directed at Elon. It's directed entirely at anybody who comes into a position where they have that much unchecked influence over the world. I personally could see that being problematic. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I leave space for me to be wrong on this. But no one man should have all that power. Kanye's crazy, but he's also brilliant. So, that's what I say. All right. I think Walker. It looks like we got to move. We got one more.
We got a quick note on this because actually SpaceX is now live on Roxom TV's parent company. So now the most valuable private company on earth is now yours to trade. And Roxom is giving away one share of SPCX to someone anywhere in the world. And if you follow Roxom, quote, and reply with your Rox ID, you can be eligible for that. So I think if you go to the @Roxom handle, they just tweeted this out. go over there and get that share, because then, Hank, you can actually vote with your money, as opposed to just complaining with this commie gobbledygook over here.
It's not even a vote. He has 82% of the voting rights.
Your money is a vote. What you do with your money is the most powerful vote. It is
my
your
money's not
economic
making any
energy.
difference in that vote. Listen, guys, I hear you. And I'm not saying let's stunt growth. I'm not saying, the government is perfect. There's problems in all of these things. But I can still acknowledge foreseeable problems in the future that could come with this. Whether I'm right or whether you guys are right about that remains to be seen, but I think it's something that's at least worth acknowledging, even if I'm saying I don't have a solution for it right now. Is that not fair of me to say?
I think the biggest risk that we should acknowledge is the government trying to take a 50% ownership stake in innovative companies, driving them into the ground and ruining them, which is what happens in every single socialist and communist country. That is what I'm more concerned about. I am more concerned with the brilliant, unchecked innovation that is happening under Elon's companies getting snuffed out by the geriatric hand of the kleptocracy. That's what I'm concerned about. That's
Elon's
the thing
not
that
getting
I
stuffed out. Elon's got his hands in everyone's pockets.
I'm just saying
Smart
that
guy.
the libs don't like him. The libs don't like him because he's too successful.
I get it. This isn't like a left side of the aisle thing for me. I don't think any one person should have that much concentration of power in the same way. Like, I don't think it would be good if Michael Saylor owned 50% of Bitcoin. It would have too much influence on the overall market, which to me screams that it could be problematic down the line. Do I know that for certain? I don't, but neither do you guys. So I think it's a fair point to talk about.
Look, okay, it's sure, it is a fair thing to talk about, but this is like saying, okay, and the Saylor analogy, perhaps more tenable than your Genghis Khan one, because I don't think Elon's going to go around raping and pillaging a bunch of countries and impregnating every woman he gets along his conquest and confiscating.
We don't know about that last one.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, he has a lot of kids.
He has a lot of kids. They were all conceived consensually, probably with NDAs in place.
Yeah.
So I think that was and very large support packages.
$30 million basket.
Those kids are going to be very well taken care of. But think about it, Hank. I guess what it comes down to for me is it's like you can say, okay, you're saying I'm concerned that he has so much control over this company, but
influence over the world. That's what it is. It's influence.
But hard-won and hard-fought influence gained by creating truly revolutionary things, by doing things that people haven't done before. And we know, and again, when we talk about, it's like, what would you do about this problem? Because just like being like, this is a problem. I don't like how that he created these incredibly valuable companies, and he has such a large ownership.
This is a news show, Walker. This is what we talk about.
No, I know.
We talk about these things. That's why we bring it up. That's the whole point.
Next level, because your options here, the only way that you're going to be able to somehow wrest control of his company from him is if you did it via governmental intervention, right? That's the only way you're going to do it. If they try and declare some sort of, trust, but I don't know how they would do it, antitrust, monopolistic practices. He just did things better and built, he has most of the rocket payloads going to space because he built reusable rockets first. The government didn't do that. The government didn't build reusable rockets. Did SpaceX get contracts from the government? Yeah, absolutely. But the government engineers didn't do this. Government bureaucrats didn't do this. The free market did this. Really driven, brilliant engineers. And everybody down, you know what? Shout out to the SpaceX janitors who are now multimillionaires, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it for putting your faith in a company and technologies that have the potential to bring so much abundance to humanity. That is a beautiful thing. I think we need to be How are reusable
what's going to happen when
rockets?
the robots have all of our jobs? I do not believe universal basic income is going to be a thing. When have billionaires ever said, hey, just take the money that we so rightly earned and made, like you said? That's never going to happen. So I just feel like we're living in this crazy cloud where we think that billionaires all of a sudden are going to be like, oh, you know what, let's do it. Let's do something for the greater good.
What's going to happen to all the horse and buggy drivers and all the horses when the automobile takes their jobs? What's going to happen to all the cotton pickers and when the cotton gin takes their job? What's going to happen to all of the monks
Fundamentally
now that the printing press exists? What's going to happen to everybody?
These are all connected by a network. Walker, if Elon wanted to at some point, if he's got XAI, he's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, he's got all these, and let's say he gets into a fight with Trump again, right? And let's say he's so rich and he wants to stick it to Trump because these guys are all egomaniacs, and I get it, they're very successful, I could understand why they are. But if he wanted to say, you know what, Trump, I'm gonna move everything out of this country, I'm gonna stop all the inner workings that work for Tesla cars, you're not gonna have access to the space programs, you're not gonna have access to our AI, you could fundamentally cripple our entire economy by being one man. Those are the things that I worry about. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a discussion worth having because I don't think at any time in human history we've had such an income wealth gap from the very bottom to the very tippy top. And that concerns me, and I think it should concern everybody.
Okay, so I would say you're probably more concerned about the government passing the bill to put mandatory kill switches in every vehicle, right?
Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, 2027. Yeah.
I don't know that either. Huh. I'm just saying this is all problematic. I don't like any of this. And again, I'm not saying the government is the answer. I'm just saying I worry
I would hope
about
not, because that would be
no. I don't. The government. Do you think I like our president? He's a freaking buffoon. Like it's crazy. So no, like I don't like that. I don't like this. I'm just saying it could be problematic. And Elon has proven to be volatile, like our president. And while he does a lot of great things, you can't just assume someone's going to stay a certain way forever, especially when they get emboldened with this type of influence. And that I find potentially problematic. But I hear what you guys are saying. I'm not saying let's strip the free market economy or capitalism at all. Billionaires, if they contribute value, should get that money. But I worry about the influence specifically with Elon because his hands are in so many important arenas in our economy, right? AI, data centers in space rockets, like all of them. So that's what worries me. I hear you guys, and I don't disagree with a lot of what you say, but I think it could be problematic.
Who can compete with Elon? The government. The government can create a company instead of spending money in wars. They can create a company. They can make NASA better, but that's the thing. So again, for me, the market is the solution. If Elon does the things bad, market will punish him. If he does the things correct, market will reward him. So, and again, I am also concerned with the inequality, but this is a problem that was generated by politicians, not by free markets. So the problem are the politicians. And Bitcoin fixes this.
They're not the solution. The politicians definitely aren't the solution, and I'll agree with you guys on that. And again, I'm not coming to you say I know a better way, but I think we need to have these conversations about what could happen given the circumstances. Otherwise, we're just kind of putting our heads in the sand, aren't we?
Yes, of course.
I'm all for having conversations, but I just personally think we need to get away from this idea that anybody, once they reach a certain arbitrary level of money, like you ever notice Bernie Sanders, his rhetoric, if you look back, it used to be that millionaires are like the enemy, right? Until he became a millionaire, then he switched to just billionaires. Like you can literally look at his the language that he uses over time, and it shifts.
Well, inflation, bro.
Yeah, and the politicians getting rich after being parasites and doing nothing their whole careers. Like this is the thing. It's like we're told that the biggest boogeymen are somehow the most successful people in the world that have built the most innovative companies. That, you know, Jeff Bezos, he's the enemy. The guy that makes sure you can get medication dropped off at your doorstep the same day. Yep, he's the problem. Elon Musk, the guy creating reusable rockets to send us to make us an interplanetary species. Yep, he's the problem. It's not the corrupt politicians that are completely in the pockets of very dark interests. You know, it's not everybody who was compromised by Jeffrey Epstein and foreign governments who shall remain unnamed. No. It's not the mass waves of migrants, going through borders. It's not the beheadings happening everywhere. You know, it's Elon Musk that's the problem. It's like, boy, it's look over here, not over here. You know, it's just, it gets to be so transparent at a certain point. And I don't know. Personally, I like to celebrate people who do incredible things, who make us have hope, have dreams, think that, wow, amazing things are possible. Like, Hank, we were talking the other week, you said you don't get why people want to climb mountains. And what did I say to you? I said, well, because you want to see what's on the other side, because we can, because we must. That's why men climb mountains, because we must.
Someone else already did it.
In this case, I think he must.
I already know what's on the other side of the mountain. That's pretty good. No, I'll give you that one. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give credit where it's due. Again, and it's not about billionaires. Like, I have no problem with Bezos, whatever. Like, you're creating things. Again, the value you provide to society, you should be rewarded for that. Elon is a very special case in and of himself, just because how many hands he has in some of the most important developments in the future. And having one person have so much control of all of those worries
Jeff
me
Bezos
personally.
now
I
has
hope I'm wrong.
reusable rockets. Jeff Bezos controls the largest online marketplace in the planet. Jeff Bezos controls the largest number of data centers, or maybe not the largest, but either like one of the largest number of data centers in the planet that are fueling AI. Like, so I can already name another person who has
then maybe I should add him to the list too.
a similar
It
amount of
worries
power.
me.
So
I'm
then
allowed to
apparently
be
it's
worried
not one
about
man
that.
that has all that power. Apparently it's multiple men
Two men.
who've done
It's-
incredible
well-
things to build super, super valuable companies and made all of our lives better through
Dude,
their
we're all gonna-
entrepreneurship.
We're
That's
all
an
going to
amazing
lose
thing.
our jobs to robots and probably be enslaved.
Just like all,
right.
I
iRobot
worry
shows how this
about
plays out.
I worry about all the whale blubber fishermen. Once once we had electricity, is like, and all those guys that were harvesting whale blubber, they were out of a job, and that's what I worry about too. Is like, what are all the blubber harvesters going to do these days? You know what I mean? It's like,
Hard-working
Hank,
folk.
human beings are incredibly creative. Every industrial technological revolution is heralded in with just unrestricted panic and hand-wringing by Luddites who want to make you think that there is this is the newest one. It's all over this time. Everyone's jobs are going to be gone. Everyone's
AI
lives
is
are gonna be
fundamentally
ruined.
different, Walker. We got to acknowledge
Everything
that.
is
It's
always
something that
every
builds on
technological
itself.
revolution is always
We've never had
fundamentally different from
anything
the
like
last.
this.
Everyone
We're going to have
is.
to agree to disagree on this one, but I hear you. All right, we got it, Fernando. We got to say goodbye to you. We have our next guest. I want to thank you for joining us today. It's been a hot one, so thank you as always for your time.
Amazing.
We'll see you coming from the future next week, buddy.
Always a pleasure. Greetings to you. Have a great weekend. Greetings to Walker and all the Roxom audience. And it's going to be difficult to take the World Cup from us, guys.
Yeah, we're rooting for you. Well, I'm rooting for Iran, actually, but that's a separate thing. All right, thanks, Fernando. All right, gang, so right now, joining Walker and I, the team behind some of the most finest, ethically sourced meat in America. Let's give a big Roxom TV News welcome to Tony Beck and JP Bulow of Beck and Bulow. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you? Oh, it's been a heated morning this morning. How are you guys
spicy,
joining us?
You know,
It's been
Hank and I
getting
love
spicy.
to agree to disagree on things.
Yeah.
That's why we work well as a co-hosting pair.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all respect here. We leave room for alternative views. And guys, we're excited to have you on the show. We have a story that I want to read really quick, and then I'm going to bring you two back to talk about it. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Let's rock and roll. All right, so a flesh-eating parasite that America spent decades and billions of dollars on wiping out has made its return. Yikes. And ranchers in Texas and New Mexico are not exactly thrilled about the reunion. Take a look.
Yesterday, USDA confirmed 2 additional cases, one in Texas in a calf in LaSalle County and another in Lea County, New Mexico, in a dog that we are hearing has been moved up from Mexico. And today, just a couple of hours ago, we had an additional confirmation in a goat in Gillespie County, Texas. These developments obviously represent a serious threat to our livestock and wildlife, but they haven't caught us off guard. We have been tracking this pest for a long time, and we have fought before, and we will do so again. We don't have a timeline. Obviously, we're just at the beginning of this now new phase of the battle with it on our side of the border, but we will be watching very, very closely. It is an important point that while it is here in Texas, it's still about 800 miles away from the port in Arizona. Understanding the significant economic harm and challenge closing the ports have been to some of our feeders and feedlots in this side of the border. So it is not lost on me. We will continue to watch the data very, very, very closely.
Now, the New World screwworm isn't a virus or bacteria. It's a parasitic fly whose larvae burrow into the feed on the living tissue of live animals. Jesus Christ. Now, the U.S. eradicated it domestically, declared victory, and then just moved on. Nature apparently did not get the memo. As of now, 7 confirmed cases have been detected, with federal officials warning that that number is likely to climb as surveillance expands. The USDA has deployed response teams and ramped up production of sterile flies, the primary method used to stop the parasite from reproducing, while also accelerating investment in new production facilities. Now, some of that infrastructure, though, won't be ready until next year, and the timing, well, it couldn't be much worse. America's cattle is already near its lowest point in generations after years of drought, rising costs, costs and shrinking herds. No beef shortage today, but there is absolutely no cushion here either. All right, I want to bring the guys back here. Gentlemen, you're running a premium meat business in New Mexico right now, one of the 2 states where confirmed cases have already showed up. When you heard screwworm was back, Tony, I want to start with you. What was your immediate reaction, and how seriously is the ranching community around you talking about this?
Well, we own a butcher shop in Santa Fe, and we've been hearing from, frankly, a lot of baby boomers. They're watching the mainstream news. They're hearing about screwworm. It's the next new fear panic. So it's been somewhat interesting. And the beef industry and the cattle industry has already been hit very, very hard. Prices have doubled since 2020. So it's been interesting. You can treat it like any other infection in cattle with ivermectin. That became very popular during COVID. I'm sure your audience has heard about ivermectin. Yes. It's an easy shot, right? So we've cut off imports from Mexico. That actually happened last year. But there's a couple of issues going on with the cattle. It's a great fear porn, the flesh-eating bacteria. It sounds like we're out of a zombie apocalypse here. So let's be clear, it doesn't affect meat. It only affects the live animals. So when I think of a zombie apocalypse, I'm thinking I'm driving my car, and right in front of me, a car just smashes into the light post. Someone gets out, there's blood coming out of their orifices. That sounds scary to me. So we're not quite at that level. Our business was built during COVID. We saw the West Coast shut down, the East Coast. We were primarily in the wholesale distribution of high-end hotels, restaurants, and casinos that want the best quality meat. So we pivoted really quick to the retail market. Do you remember at that time, the fear you would go into the grocery store and you were only allowed to buy 2 pieces of protein? There was talk they were going to outlaw meat for carbon sequestration during the COVID era. Do you remember that, JP?
Yeah. During COVID, right?
Yeah, it was nuts. So
2 pieces of meat, you were limited. I mean, it almost got to the point during COVID where it seemed like somebody was trying to ban meat.
Well, I think it has been. I mean, it was incredibly attacked, the meat industry, and still continues to be attacked. If you look at Europe, the USDA brought us over there to sell meat. I mean, they're taking out the farms because of the carbon footprints. It's been an interesting market.
Yeah, and guys, I would love to know too, like the USDA has deployed these response teams that I guess like get these sterile flies and then they have them breed or whatever. Are you guys confident in like the government's plan for this? Because like as we talk about on this show, and Walker and will definitely attest, we're not always super confident in what the government's doing. So how do you think they're going to get this under wraps, or are you a little concerned?
You never know what the agenda is. So just in the meat industry, kind of like the financial industry or the medical industry, the small businesses have been consolidated. Just in the last few years, what's called the big 4 meat companies.
JBS, Tyson, Cargill, and National, I believe.
2 of those are Brazilian owned. So these are multinational industries that are not American. And what happened was all of the small ranchers, I don't know if you remember during COVID, but there's a string of fires where these small butcher shops caught fire.
And kills, where they actually, so if you're USDA meat, you have to bring your live animals to, in the industry, it's called kills. So it's basically where you bring the live cattle in a polite way, the animals get dispatched, and then they come out as boxed meats that you would buy in the grocery store. So since COVID, 50% of the small and medium kills went out of business. They caught fire, there was a lot of incidences.
Yeah. So these big 4, they've now owned between 90, and if you expand it to the big 6, 98% of the meat industry. So it doesn't matter what brand you get. You can go to your local grocery store and you see a green package, grass-fed, grass-finished. It's still coming from that big 4. They've got hundreds of brands depending on their clientele and the region. So
and some of these brands are, I mean, you've heard about the NGOs. I mean, they have innocuous names. They sound very humanitarian, like, kumbaya, they're benefit of the people. But all the restaurants, all the grocery stores is dominated by these brands that come from the 4. So just to give you a little perspective, in the 80s, it was about 35% was owned the market was owned by these big four. So in the last 40 years, it's been consolidated. Same in the Bitcoin, with the analogies in the central bankers.
Yeah.
So
speaking of, go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, I just had a
was gonna
quick
say,
question, guys. Oh,
Mark,
sorry, Hank.
please.
One quick one,
No,
guys.
go for it,
I
brother.
just want to clarify here. Was this just a randomly occurring centralization that happened, or did it have anything to do with just insanely burdensome government regulations that only made it possible for the very biggest players to actually continue to operate profitably? I can't imagine government would have done something like throw too many regulations at a problem and screw it up and accidentally create monopolies. That'd be insane, right?
No, I don't think the big four are in bed with the government either. I mean, it's
Oh,
like
thank
It's like
goodness.
when we
Okay.
went to the USDA trip to Europe that was sponsored by Cargill. I think the government's our friend, right? And it's like our dad, right?
yeah, like our money. We just want the government to control our money or the big banks. Hell no.
So we have
Just one-
something. It's pretty interesting. And COVID, in Bitcoin, we talk about cold storage, right? We do the same in the meat industry. So a couple of reasons, whether it's the tick. Have you guys heard about the ticks?
Yeah, we have a little bit. The ones that make you allergic to meat, right?
That's crazy. Yeah, you get an alpha gal syndrome. So we've been having people come into the butcher shop, and it's a real thing. They're like, I love you guys. You're great, but I got bit by a tick, and now I'm allergic to meat. This is crazy, right? Have you ever heard of such a thing? And I guess the cases have gone up by 10,000% in the last couple of years of alpha gal. So what's very interesting is there's a couple of individuals, maybe you've heard of our favorite supervillain called Bill Gates. Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah, he's in some
I heard one of your, it's not my words, but I heard one of your earlier hosts talking about Bill Gates. He sounds like a retarded little girl. So I don't know if that's an accurate description or not, but they've also been aligned with Cargill. And so during COVID, do you remember how they were pushing this Beyond Meat? Meat and the vegetarian. Yeah, it was like the big trend, and everyone's going to be filled up with their soy, and their testosterone's going to plummet into nothing, and we're going to be malleable human beings.
Oh, it's healthy. That's how you're going to be uber healthy, is if you eat this fake meat with 30 different ingredients that took billions of dollars in machinery to make. No, what's going to get you healthy is just eating a steak. It's got one ingredient. It's meat. And that's the healthiest thing you can eat.
The crazy thing is, too, and this is why I love the free market, is because if you look at the stock price of Beyond Meat, its high was like almost $250. It's down 98.98%.
It's
currently trading at 68 cents, down from $250. And that's just beautiful, because what that is that's the free market giving a big middle finger to anybody who thinks they're just going to shove this kind of crap down people's throats, because that is what they want to do. And it's all under the guise of this climate hysteria as well, right? It's all under the guise of, well, this is the ethical thing to do, is eat this crazy ultra processed, slop. Like, just eat your Soylent Green.
Slop.
Like, it's, because that's what it is. This is just food slop. You can't even call it food. But you know what? The free market decided, we don't want this at all. Apparently, there's not enough people that care about the environment. I guess that must be why not enough people care about the weather changing. That's why the stock price is down so far. I don't know, but this is what I like, is that people ultimately, when you give them a choice, will choose what's real. They will choose what is good for them. Most people, anyway. But clearly enough people where this company is insanely unprofitable and nobody wants the products. And so, I'm curious, just like from your guys' perspective, do you still see this as something that they're going to try and kind of roll back again? Like, hey, we're going to do another, like, once the wars die down, we'll do another climate hysteria, round of things. We'll tune up Greta Thunberg again, get her back onto the circuit, and then they'll push this stuff again. Or is the nail already in the coffin when it comes to the fake meat?
Well, I did hear an interesting story, whether this is true or not, or there could be some parts of the truth, but the founder, the CEO of Beyond Meat, apparently was at a college football game. I think it was in Alabama, could have been in Georgia's alma mater, and drank a couple too many beers. I don't know if he was drinking Busch Light or Budweiser, what is... I doubt he was a local microbrew kind of guy. So he got in a little scuffle, a fist fight, right? A little handcuff. and one of those fists hit his face, and some blood came down. And immediately when he tasted that blood, something erupted in his mind where he just went crazy and started binging on White Castle burgers. So that seems like it was the beginning of the end of the Beyond Beef. But back to your question, are they going to run something by us again? Of course they will. I mean, that's all they can do till they're utterly defeated. Now, this is a historic day. We have the SpaceX IPO. I heard a very hot, opinionated conversation, which was great. But maybe we settle Mars. That could be true. We settle Mars, and there could be some kind of application for a protein source until the biology the atmosphere is set up in Mars. Possible. Deep space voyage. But here on planet Earth, I want to eat meat that my ancestors and your ancestors have eaten since the dawn of time. And that's four-legged animals that provide all 16 critical amino acids that are you need it to live. You don't have to add B12. You don't have to add spirulina, and you definitely don't have to add any synthetically created supplements. You just eat the meat. It's nature's perfect health food. It makes you healthy. It makes you vital. It gives you virility, and it tastes amazing. You know, we've had people that come in. They're like, your meat tastes like an 80-year-old woman. She's like, your meat tastes like what beef used to taste like in the 1940s. Now, personally,
I love
I'm
when
a big
8-year-old women
fan.
say that to me.
They say that to you.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Sorry, guys.
No one beats our meat over here, right? Does that answer your question? Yeah, they're gonna pull something. I mean, they pulled it with COVID. They're pulling it with now. These guys are just got caught fixing prices. The big four. So I mean, it's a big deal. We're already being stressed. I heard some talk about the top of the food chain. There's never been a bigger gap between Main Street and Wall Street. I think that's true. The gas prices are high. The beef prices have doubled. I mean, that's crazy for everyday Americans.
Now, for a long time, we didn't really get affected. We're in that 5% that is not part of the big four. So we raise animals, we source privately from ranches that are not involved in that big four, from family farms. But what does affect us is the price fixing. And the prices of meat have gone up while the price that ranchers sell their whole animals for was at a record low. So the ranchers are getting fucked and the big guys are making hand over fist while the American people are in fear. So you start seeing these trends of these playbooks through other industries, what happened in the financial industry, the medical industry, and it's happening here in our industry, in the meat industry. So the Bitcoin community has just been amazing. Tony spoke over at the Bitcoin conference about fix the food, fix the money, fix the world. And yeah, you want to have meat that's coming from a source that you can trust. So we've become the Bitcoin butchers. We're providing meat that you can trust from our ranches here in New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, and happy to be on the show here.
I'm happy to have you guys. I think, Walker, we got another story. Should we move on, or do you got any more?
Yeah, well, it's building right on what we were just discussing. Actually, around we've been discussing parasites, right? Screwworms, politicians, and now we're talking ticks. Because a few weeks ago, we reported on alpha-gal syndrome, the condition that, as we just spoke about a moment ago here in the show, linked to tick bites that can leave people allergic to red meat. Suspicious. Today, the issue is no longer just about public health, though. It is about sovereignty over the human body. Epidemiologist Nicholas Hulscher is calling for an FBI investigation into whether the dramatic rise in alpha-gal syndrome cases deserves an investigation.
Farmers reporting boxes of ticks. We see some reports of tick releases from aircraft. None of those can be fully verified yet. But we do know in the 1960s, the U.S. Army released over 200,000 ticks into the wild for biological weapon purposes to see how the ticks would spread. And about over 100,000 of them were Lone Star ticks. So the Army released it before. The bioethicists are calling for intentional release of them to better give humans alpha-gal syndrome.
Well, looks like we're back, and we're bringing the guys back to talk about the ticks. Here we go.
Yeah.
We got Walker. Here we go.
Whatever the ultimate explanation for the rise in these cases is, one principle should very much be non-negotiable. No government, corporation, university, or research institution should have the authority to intentionally engineer insects for the purpose of altering human behavior, diet, or biology without consent. Federal health agencies estimate that roughly 450,000 to 500,000 Americans may now be living with alpha-gal syndrome, a condition that can permanently change what a person is able to eat. The CDC also reports that tick activity is running at unusually high levels this year. I'd like to bring back in the guys here, and this was honestly perfect timing when I found out we were doing this story, because just this morning here, I had my wife. I was taking a shower. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is not a Lone Star. This is just a wood tick, or a more dog tick, whatever you'd like to call them. I'm okay, guys. This little son of a gun was rooted right in the back of my head there. Wife did an amazing job. Got it out.
Damn.
Little bit of flesh on it, which you want to have some flesh on the tick, not tick in the flesh. You know what I mean? When you pull that thing out. So she's a champ, got it out perfectly. I've had Lyme disease before. I grew up in the woods. So like most people I know had Lyme disease at some point. It is awful, like really awful. My dad and multiple other people I know have had ehrlichiosis, which is the more severe form of Lyme disease. I don't know anybody who has had alpha-gal syndrome yet. But guys, I mean, I want to get your take on this. Now, to steelman this case, right? You can say, well, they've found evidence of Lyme disease in prehistoric humans from they were on the North American continent like 5,000 years ago, right? So it's been around, it's been there. The question is whether some of these very specific types of things like alpha-gal syndrome, which is just like, wow, it makes you allergic to red meat. Like, why not allergic to asparagus or broccoli? You know what I mean? It's like red meat, really? Okay. Are you guys buying it that this is just all natural phenomenon? This is just here. This just is what it is. Or do you think? I mean, the reports that we've seen, you see a lot of unverified reports about people finding boxes of ticks. Who knows what's true these days? Hard to know. But I'm curious what your guys' take is on this. I mean, is this hey, look, cases may be on the rise, but that has to do with also like reforestation, massive, cutting, not allowing people to kill as many deer, which you should kill a bunch of deer because they are overpopulated. Or is this, the government doing what the government does and accidentally unleashing a bioweapons? Like, we can't remember any time that happened in recent memory, right? Not like in 2020 or anything like that. So, I mean,
I just read Tulsi Gabbard just when I was waiting to get on the show. She said they just released proof of 130 biolabs, including biolabs in Ukraine. So, I mean, if they're doing this for the Wuhan virus or whatever they call it, you would imagine they would do it for ticks. Why not? I mean, everyone's heard about there's some island in New York. I'm sure that could be a whole nother discussion or podcast on it. We have the technology. We have people like our favorite supervillains that seem like that's the field they like to play in. So do I feel that this new tick disease, where people are finding boxes in cornfields and in ranches, it's highly suspicious. Highly suspicious.
Who would you guys think would be the people, like if there's someone were to have created it, who do you think would it be? Would it be Big Salad? Would it be Elizabeth Warren? Like who would even do this? Like, meat's so great.
Who would create these insect bioweapons?
Yeah.
Who would want
to put you off meat?
Well, who's that supervillain like in Austin Powers? Probably like the person that I would think that would want to get you off meat are the people that are have billions and billions of dollars invested into lab grown meat or printed meat, they call it. I mean, that would be my first guess, but I mean, we're just ranchers from Santa Fe, New Mexico, right? I mean, what?
Did you guys see that story? This was maybe, I think TFTC did some really good reporting on it. This was maybe a month or so ago. researchers at the University of Michigan they basically had nice peer-reviewed paper, because everything's got, if it's peer-reviewed, it's good, right? And they were basically making the case that it actually, if there is a disease out there that you can give to people that makes them allergic to meat, and if, of course, eating meat is ethically wrong, as we all know, that it would actually be the moral thing to infect people with this disease in large numbers in order to get them to eat less meat, because that would ultimately be moral. It wouldn't be immoral. I literally cannot believe, I'm being facetious for anyone who can't tell here, but these guys, I cannot imagine having your head so far up the place where the sun don't shine that you think that the immoral thing is eating meat, but the moral thing is to infect people with a bioweapon that gives them anaphylaxis against their will. Like that, it is just crazy that we're at this point. But these are the people, these are the researchers getting funding at universities. Like that's part of the problem, is this whole academic capture that exists. I'm sure they haven't taken any money from Bill Gates. I'm sure there's no funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates, or maybe it's just the Bill Gates Foundation these days. I don't know. It's just all so insane. It's insane that we're at this point where you could even make such an absurd argument and have a bunch of other academics go, "Oh yeah, how stunning and brave of you." It's a clown world we live in, gentlemen. A clown world. I didn't even have a question there. Just that just irritated me to no end.
Well, this seems like a good time. You guys go ahead, please.
The same University of Michigan. I think they had like the highest DEI rate of their staff on the University of Michigan, one of the biggest think tanks for this new, what do you call it? This thought that they're infecting the kids with. I've heard it called the woke mind virus. And then we also have this tick virus. Now, for your viewers, I have heard anecdotal talk from people that are coming to our shop that have very good results of people that use a ear acupuncture to treat this alpha gal, where they say the symptoms totally erase and then they can eat red meat and be happy. So that's a good thing to know. It's worth a try if someone does have the alpha gal. I know it's real because we have real life people that come into the shop and they can't eat meat. They can't eat red meat.
Man, I'll stick needles in my eyeballs if it meant I could eat meat again. You know what I mean? Like, I'll stick them anywhere.
Walker, looks like we have a picture from the tweet you mentioned. Can we bring that up, guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right now,
you can see the tick up close. It is okay. The nice thing is, you always worry with ticks. It's like, okay, if the tick's too small, that's the worrisome thing. You don't worry about the big ones. We don't see the Lone Star markings on here. This is pretty cut and dry, a wood tick, as we'd call them around here, but they usually call them dog ticks, I guess, if you're being more specific. But it is not a black-legged tick, or also known more colloquially as a deer tick. The one that got me back in the day never even found the thing. That's the problem. They are like smaller than a freckle, those deer ticks. So when you find one you can see and you can grab with a pair of tweezers, that's usually a pretty good sign. Not so much with the Lone Star ticks, though. They are nasty. But yeah.
Well, get a shot or something, Walker. We can't have you getting Lyme disease. Like you said, it's debilitating. I know a couple of friends that got it. And
great thing is you get some antibiotics real quick. Like you're good. I mean, it's still gonna suck to get through it.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have any chronic problems. Like I have no chronic issues from it whatsoever. I got a high dose of antibiotics pretty soon. The initial doctor actually misdiagnosed me, so I suffered for like another week. And then I got the antibiotics, and it's like, bam. Just takes it right out of you in a couple of days.
Yeah. So did you have like a bullseye mark or anything, or you said it was in your head, so you probably couldn't even see that?
Oh, for this one, no. I mean, it's there's no bullseye there. I don't tend to. I mean, I'll monitor the situation here. Have the wife look at the back of my head every couple of days because I can't see it. Unfortunately, for the one that gave me Lyme disease back in the day, I never found a bullseye, never found the tick. But I mean, it was Lyme. Yeah.
And they're tricky because they like moist, dark places. So.
Oh yeah, that might be why I never found it.
Yeah, you might want to have the missus check that out.
All right, we're getting a little off topic here, guys. I'm going to move on to our next story, which very much plays into everything we've been talking about. So I'll bring you gentlemen back in just a second, because lab-grown meat was supposed to be inevitable, a sleek Silicon Valley-approved future where protein comes from bioreactors instead of pastures, and the whole messy business of traditional farming quietly fades away. Ranchers, governments, and consumers, well, they've got other ideas. South Dakota just signed a 5-year moratorium through 2031 on the sale, manufacture, and distribution of cultivated meat products, joining Florida, Alabama, Texas, Nebraska, Montana, Mississippi, and Indiana, which have all taken similar action. The resistance isn't just American either. Italy became the first country in the world to ban cultivated meat outright, citing the protection of its farmers, food, culture, and agricultural traditions, which, when you're in Italy, is a pretty short conversation. Hungary has moved to restrict the technology as well, and the debate is grinding forward across Europe. Meanwhile, the economics still don't really work. Despite years of investment and pitches that made it sound like lab-grown chicken was 6 months away from your grocery store, most cultivated meat companies still can't get their production costs anywhere close to competitive with a cow raised on a ranch. Consumers haven't exactly been banging down the door either. It turns out a lot of people, given the choice, would prefer their steak to have spent at least some time outside. Now, what started as a food tech story has quietly turned into a political and cultural referendum on who gets to decide what the future of food looks like. And for now, the people who've been raising cattle for generations are winning that argument against the people who've been raising venture capital. I want to bring the guys back here. Gentlemen, what do you make of this lab-grown meat nonsense? I don't even like the way it sounds coming out of my mouth, let alone how it might taste. What is your guys' beat on that? Tony, let's start with you.
I just saw those pictures of the ribeyes you put up. My mouth just started watering. Those looked amazing. What do I think about the lab grown meat nonsense? I mean, exactly what you said. It's nonsense. It's slop. It's like meme coin slop. It's not fit for human consumption. It's fit for slaves. I mean, that's what I would want to feed slaves. Okay, if I didn't want them to have energy or I didn't want them to think for themselves, I would feed them lab grown slop. I wouldn't feed them something that's been on the like created by the most precise intelligence ever, that's pervading the universe, that's out in the sun, the natural elements, that has to struggle to survive, that has a tenacity. I definitely want to give them that meat.
It is a great point, though. Like historically, slaves populations have always been fed, and we can go back like thousands and thousands of years. They are always fed a different diet. They're never given red meat. They're never given high protein diets because
Ribs were a slave food. They were like
Hank,
that's what they were.
Please don't be racist now.
I'm not racist. I'm saying that they were often because it was like a.
We can agree that American slave owners were by far the nicest slave owners in history. We can. Hank, I agree with you. I agree with you.
It's not the best part of the meat. I'm just saying.
Boy, you want to know about some bad slave owners? Look at what the Arabs did. Anyway, moving on, Hank.
Definitely true in Egypt. Yeah, they weren't giving the slaves red meat.
Let me ask you this, guys. What if you were able to make it to where it was indistinguishable from an actual animal? Or is there something about like an animal having lived that maybe is, I don't know, like part of the secret sauce that could never officially be replicated? Like we're in this world where AI can turn something or nothing into something in a matter of seconds. Do you think we'll ever reach a point where that's possible? Or is that just like, it's against kind of like human nature? Like it has, or like the nature of living things. They have to be alive. Otherwise, it's just never going to be the same.
Like if we become God and we start creating.
We're trying.
Yeah, I mean, there's an analogy like with, I'm into like high quality, like ginseng, right? Like old wild ginseng. So they say the strongest plants grow up in the harshest environments because they develop a resilience. Just like you look at people that are self-made, like us, that came from the bottom up with nothing, or you can't, people that have given everything. There's a grit and a tenacity that is just sometimes isn't present. So I'd rather have my food that had to fight a little bit. Right? They're cold sometimes, they're hot sometimes. They had to exercise and travel. That's how I personally would like to have my meat. So we're coming from millions of years. People have been eating meat. I spent a lot of time in South Dakota on the reservations. They have a word they call it for. They believe in the great big spirit. Every little thing has a separate spirit, and it makes up what's called Tatonka, which is one big spirit made up of all these smaller ones. And in their Tatonka is buffalo. So they're saying that you can't not even separate the meat from God. It's essential. In the northern latitudes, for instance, you cannot be a vegetarian and live back before modern Western society came here. So
we have,
if I would choose any day of the week, would I choose meat over lab grown, even if it tasted the same or had the same nutritional statistics? I think there's something beyond the nutritional statistics, that it's a energy or a spirit or a something that you can't quite qualify.
Yeah. Do you think, like, we talked about Elon moving us to Mars? How do you think that, like, may it even be somewhat of a necessity for like interplanetary travel, or are we just going to start shipping, you know, cows up to into space? Like, what do you think? Like in that instance, could you get on board with it? Because like you kind of need to. I don't know how cows are living on Mars.
You know, the Mars thing really hit me when I was in Dubai, and I'm in these like massive, you know, it's like 120, 130 degrees outside, and you're in these massive malls where the temperature is controlled and the air is perfect, and so yes, I think there could be applications for like deep space voyaging, right? So I like to have this concept. I think we're moving to it's I call it the ancient future. So it's my opinion that humanity is going to be like, we're not stopping with the AI, with the digital. I mean, look at SpaceX today. This is a historic day. I do feel like we're going to the stars and beyond, but I feel like what we do is very essential, because eating meat and eating these foods that haven't been modified, like the heirloom corn, is going to be a link to how humans used to live here on Earth since the dawn of time. So are there applications? Yeah, I mean, what do you think, John Paul?
Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say, but yeah, instead of having the lab grown meat, there could be freeze dried, where you have real meat, but it's freeze dried. But yeah, that does bring up a question: is how do you feed the masses versus other populations? And when you get the government involved and when you get these huge entities involved, then it convolutes things. So yeah, it's just a little fishy with what's going on with the lab grown meat, how it's just peaked right during COVID. It almost seems like if things had gone another way, then that could have been the new reality of the lab grown. But things kind of, now we're in this reality where we have RFK. He's switched the food pyramid upside down. He's healthy. He's promoting meat for humans, which yeah, it's pretty inspiring. It's pretty I'm very optimistic about the future for the meat industry. And yeah,
just to
we do have those.
Go on.
Go ahead. Sorry. No,
I was going to
please.
say, in our neck of the woods, I mean, yeah, it's the meat. You want to have high quality meat that's not GMO'd. I eat ribeyes. I could eat ribeyes 2 times a day. I love them. Okay, but also it's the unhydrogenated seed oils which we're into. So tallow and butter. You know, I woke up in New Mexico and looked around. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a coconut tree grown here in New Mexico, or an olive tree. So like, what would people use? It's the tallow. That stuff's is just gold. It's a jar. We have it on our website. It's phenomenal. It makes your skin just glow and it's amazing. There's applications. It's at home, in the kitchen, and in your bathroom as well. There's a ton of your skin goes bad, but I haven't been sunburned. So we're big advocates of meat and non-hydrogenated seed oils for your health. I want to continue eating like this. I want my kids and I want my grandkids to continue eating like this and have access to meat. That's what it's about. I'm a 45-year-old man. I've had a great life so far. For me, it's about my kids, and it's about their kids and their kids' kids. And we need to start thinking about this. We don't want our food industry to be consolidated in 4 companies so they can do whatever the hell they want when they control the food supply. Once you control the food supply, you control the entire nation of people. I mean, what are you going to do? They're going to starve you out. They're going to, what they've been doing, the lowest amount of cattle we've had in 75 years. The prices are going to go up. Maybe that's the play. The prices go up, and then it makes the lab grown meat competitive on a scale. So maybe that's the play. I'm definitely against that. You know, sometimes you feel like you're in Star Wars. We're like the rebels, right? The 3% of the industry. And what's the solution? We say, fix the money, fix the food, fix the world. The solution is to buy from people like us. Buy from your farmers market, local ranchers. Go hunt the food, although you can't have 7 billion people hunting wild animals. That's not going to work. We're not going to have any wild animals. Or just order from us at beckandbulow.com. We're real people with real animals, and we have real families, and we actually care about you. Unlike these nameless, faceless corporations that just don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about your family, and they definitely don't care about your health.
Oh, did you see the McDonald's guy? He could barely take a bite of his own burger.
Oh God, that was painful to
An
watch.
ad, he just took like this little like. No, you put a steak.
Oh, I'm
in front
saving
of us,
the rest of
man.
this
That's
for
what
later.
we're eating. Yeah.
It's no White Castle, guys. Come on, like
White Castle.
Oh man,
White Castle.
Well, guys, this was this was a treat. Could chat with you guys all day long. The last thing I'll say is I think we are going to need cows on Mars because late stage terraforming, there is no poo like cow poo. You know what I mean? Like nothing beats that for for manure. So I think we're gonna Elon's gonna have some cow habitats shipped over there, some live cattle, maybe some cow embryos. Get that place cooking because you're going to need it if you want good tillable soil.
Wagyu and some bison.
They're pretty durable. They could probably
There you go.
survive it.
There you
They've
go.
gone all over.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Anywhere else, you said Beck and Bulow for the website, beckandbulow.com. Anywhere else can people find you on X or where else can people get in contact with you?
Instagram and Nostr. We're on Nostr. Beck
All
and Bulow.
right. I'm not following you guys yet, I don't think, so I got to fix that.
Yeah,
follow us. Great conversation, and thank you guys for the time. Follow us on X, Nostr, Instagram, or our website, www.beckandbulow.com. We take Bitcoin, we take fiat, and we love our Bitcoiners, and we love you guys. Great conversation. We'll talk to you soon.
Really enjoyed it.
Guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys very much. I'm going to go order myself some ribeye right now.
Oh, I'll look for the order. We'll take care of you
There we
guys.
go.
Yeah, where's our Roxom discount code, guys? Come on.
Roxom discount code. Should we do it, Kai?
Roxom.
What's it going to be called? Roxom. Roxom discount code. How much? 15%. One time only. Okay. And I'll do it.
All right, we're going to hold you to it.
Yeah, in the
I
next
can pay in
24
Bitcoin, right?
hours. Just go order right now. Beck and Bulow. Are you going to make it live, Kai? Awesome. So how long? 5 minutes? 30 seconds. It's going to be live. Yeah, send your viewers
You guys move
Roxom at Beck
fast.
and Bulow. You pay in
I love it.
Bitcoin, pay in dollars, whatever you want. It'll be at your house in 2 days. Frozen at the peak of freshness. You guys are going to love it. It's not like that slop you get in the grocery market that's pink. It's going to be a deep purple. It's going to have nutrition, vitality. Any questions, we're here to help. Anything you want. We have a lot of hacks. You guys really want the good stuff. Go with the liver. That's a superhuman health tonic, especially if you're working a lot, your skin tone, you're not getting much sleep, 4 hours, libido. I have is there a video kind of we can show them how to produce that liver just for the Bitcoiners? Yeah, and since we love Bitcoiners, buffalo's ideal, right? You go for the buffalo, you cook it a little bit longer than you can the beef. We do have the best beef in United States of America, outside of Japan. Look for the Wagyu. We have heritage pork, which is like the Wagyu. It's a pork that the King of England gifted to the Emperor of Japan. It naturalized in Japan. Amazing pork if you're into pork. So a lot of great products. Check us out. Roxom is the discount code, 15% off. We'll do that 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
All right, get to it.
Thank you,
I love
guys.
it. I love it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, and we've got one more quick story that we are going to buzz on through here because I know you won't want to miss it. Because as we mentioned earlier, SpaceX is now live on Roxom, our parent company, giving Bitcoin holders a new way to gain exposure to one of the most talked about companies in the world. The launch comes on the same day SpaceX began publicly trading under the ticker SPCX in the largest IPO in history. Shares were priced at $135, valuing the company at roughly $1.77 trillion, with demand reportedly exceeding available shares by 4 times. Stock opened around 150 and briefly surged even higher, pushing the company's valuation above $2 trillion. For years, SpaceX was one of the most sought-after private investments, and today it is available to trade on Roxom using Bitcoin. So, to celebrate the launch, Roxom is giving away 1 free share of SPCX to 1 lucky winner anywhere in the world. To enter, follow Roxom, quote the post on @Roxom, reply to the post, and you're good to go. The most valuable company launch in market history is here, and now Bitcoiners can easily participate too. And Hank, with that, we ran a little bit over today. It was a great one. I enjoyed the heck out of it. We kept it spicy. We talked a lot about meat.
Yeah.
This was a fun way to ring in the weekend, I think, Hank. So always a treat.
Was. Oh, absolutely. And I think we all know what we got to do this weekend. We got to order some discounted high-grade meat. Remember that promo code Roxom, so go check that out. And I'm going to go see if I can get me a free share of SpaceX and maybe touch some grass this weekend. How about you, Walker? You going to finish that swing set?
I've got to finish a pergola too now. I've got multiple projects in parallel, Hank. There's always a new one, but maybe
no rest for the weary.
Both. Maybe even both.
Yeah.
You know, let's see what happens.
Right. We're excited for at least one of those time lapse coming to our feed soon. So Walker, always a treat. This was a fun one. I'll be looking forward to doing it with you again all over next week, my friend.
Can't wait.
Thanks. All right, gang, really quick, like, follow, subscribe, Roxom TV. We'll see you boys and girls on Monday for more. Have a great weekend. See you later.
Imagine a constant